Let's talk about libraries. Python is an awesome programming language that knows how to do lots of things right out of the box. For example, Python knows how to print. So if I say print hi and hit save, knows how to do that. It knows what print is. Python also knows some math. I can say print 5 plus 3, hit save, and it prints 8. So right out of the box, Python has some built-in functionality. But one of the things that's great about Python is it's really lean, and so compiling Python is one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons compiling Python is so quick. So the way Python is structured, if you want to do much more than some simple work in Python, you usually need to import what's called a library. A library is just an extra set of commands or programs or functions that enables your Python program to do a little more complex stuff. For example, if I said sleep 3 seconds and hit save right now, Python would say, I don't know what sleep is, but the sleep function or the sleep library is part of Python. So my computer has Python on it. Python has some built-in libraries or modules. I use those terms interchangeably. Python has some built-in modules or libraries that aren't included when you first compile, but all you have to do is say import. So if I say import time, now I can say time.sleep, and I hit save, and there shouldn't be any errors. There, it says hi and 8, and no errors. So it knew how to do time.sleep. I can also, so by the way, sleep is something inside the time module. I can also say from time import sleep. And then I can just say in my code, I can just say sleep. So if I hit save, there won't be any errors. So two ways to do that. You can just say import the whole library, and that'll come with everything in that library. Or you can even import specific things. And so that's intentional in Python to kind of keep your program nice and lean. Okay, let's look at maybe one other. I might want to say after my, let's sleep for 1 second. And after that 1 second, I want to say print the square root of 9. Hit save. It's going to print 8. Then 1 second later, it's going to say, hey, I don't know what square root is. Again, a couple ways I can do that. I can say import math. Python knows how to do some math, but not a whole lot until I say import math, and I can say math dot square root. Hit save, and there's no error. It says 3.0, that's the square root of 9. And similarly, I can say from math import square root, and then down in my code, I just have to say square root. Save, it's going to say 8, wait a second, and then say 3. Great. So that is the real kind of high level overview of how libraries work, is that Python is a great programming language out of the box. It knows how to do some stuff. A lot of things I have to import, but notice the imports I've done so far just were built into Python. I didn't have to add any other files to my computer or write any extra files. Real quick, let's just take a look at how we can make our own libraries and modules. Let's clear this out for now, and I'm going to say, yeah, let's clear that out for now. And look, I have a file on I'm writing on my CPX right now. That's what's doing all the compiling. I have a file called hello.py on my CPX. Hello.py has a function in it called world. And what world does when called is it prints hello world. So because I have that file called hello.py, let's see how I can take advantage of that. I can import hello. So when you run an import, you're actually just running a file that has a bunch of functionality built in. Now that I have imported hello, I can say hello.world. So world was the name of my function. Now if I hit save right now, it prints hello world. But notice my code does not say hello world in. My code just says import hello and then hello.world. That runs the world function in my hello file. Also, similarly, I can say from hello import world. Then I can just say world. Hit save, and it prints hello world. Pretty cool. Let's look at a slightly more complex library or class, really, and then we'll talk about maybe something specific to the CPX. I also have a file on my computer called dog. Dog creates a dog class, which is pretty cool. A class is just an object which contains a lot of things that are maybe similar. So Objects get used all the time in programming. That if I'm doing a bunch of similar commands, like dog commands, I might kind of package all those commands into an object called dog. Let's see how that works. So here's my dog class. You don't need to know exactly everything that's going in there. There are some variables that every dog will have, like they'll be canines. So their kind will be canine, regardless of any dog I make. When I make a new dog, the init function will get called. That you don't have to have the init function, but it's nice to have an init function. So every time I make a dog, the dog will have a breed and age, and it'll have some tricks. Then I can add tricks, and I can tell my dog to bark. Those down at the bottom are methods or functions that are built into that class. I can add tricks all day long to my dog, teach the dog new tricks, and I can also tell my dog to bark. Okay, so let's see what that looks like in my code. So I'm going to import dog. And then I can say Spot, that's the name of my dog, is a new dog.dog. So let's make sure So let's make sure I get that syntax. It's a new dog.dog, which it means I'm going to make a new dog. That's the class that I'm importing from the dog file. And my dog file, when it gets initiated or created or instantiated, it wants to know breed and age. So I'm going to give it a breed. It's a golden retriever, and it's 5 years old. Now, if I hit save, I don't think there'll be any errors, but I don't think it's going to print anything. Oh, line 3 equals new. Oh no, I don't need to use the word dog.dog. There. So Spot is a dog, and it's a dog which is inside the dog class. That's why I've got dog. And then now that Spot's a dog, I can say spot.bark. And bark was a function. It says, wasn't it in there? Let's see. I thought bark told him to return. Oh, I got to print. So I should print that so I can see. So it print whatever the bark is, and I'm going to print arf. So there it is. So I printed spot.bark. Because Spot is a dog, Spot knows how to do all the things that dogs know how to do, such as bark. Okay, and then I can print spot.breed. And you can see it says arf and then golden. So when I created Spot, the dog, he has a breed golden. That's part of the dog class. Okay, so that's just a little bit more complicated way to build your own libraries. Maybe that's something you might want to do is if your code ever starts getting kind of crazy, you can take some chunks of code, especially code that you're using multiple times, and put it over in a library and just import it. Pretty cool. Okay, now let's talk quickly about how that pertains to the CPX. The CPX is a piece of hardware. Python does not know how to talk to hardware. So I've got sensors on here and lights and all kinds of fun things that I want to do on here. That is not built into Python. Some of those things are built into CircuitPython. And so CircuitPython is a flavor of Python that's meant to run on hardware. So CircuitPython, because I have CircuitPython running on here, I can say things like, well, my favorite one is from Adafruit Circuit Playground .express import CPX. Now that I've done that, I just imported CPX, which is a whole bunch of files and methods and things that I want this thing to be able to do. So then I can do things like CPX dot pixels dot fill, if I remember right. 30, 0. And hopefully that runs NeoPixels, right? Is that what it is? CPX dot. Nah, I'm gonna have to look that up. No, it's not NeoPixels. It is Pixels. Oh, I think I spelled it right. I spelled it wrong. Cool. And then I saw mine blink. So while true, if I want to keep them on, I think I need to do that. Hit save. Okay. RGBG in the middle, that I've turned these things green. So the only way I can talk to these pixels, Python doesn't have built in the way to talk to these pixels, but CircuitPython has something built in called Adafruit Circuit Playground.express, and then I can import CPX. So I didn't have to download or write that library. It was built in to CircuitPython, but I did have to import it. So it's one of those things like sleep or time that if I comment that out, CPX is not defined. So it doesn't know how to talk to pixels until I import some libraries. So there's a whole bunch of libraries that we're going to use, like import time, import digital IO, import analog IO, I don't know, import touch IO. None of these files did I have to download or install. They came with CircuitPython. So I just saved that program. It ran without any errors. So I've got CircuitPython installed on here. And with that comes things like, I think board is on there. Yeah, so I'm going to do things like board, digital IO, time. Those things are all built into Python or CircuitPython. So I don't have to download or install anything. My libraries folder on my CPX right now is empty. But there are some things like, I don't know, Servo, I think, or Adafruit. Yeah, there are things that I'm going to have to install extra libraries for. And then once I want to do that, it's not really predictable where those are going to be. So I might write my own libraries, or somebody else out on the internet might have written a library that is great. The Adafruit people have written a ton of great libraries. I've got LCD screens that I want to light up. That library works. There's some library I found online that I think works really well. Written by a guy named Dan on the internet. So that's kind of how it's going to work. So there's certain things Python's going to be able to do just straight